Welcome to ProServe 2012 training videos. In this video I'm going to discuss the scheduler, but this is more of a marketing video than a training video, but it will work as a training video as well. So this scheduler assumes that I've already created my work for March of 2020. This is done from this program in our system. You create your recurring work with this program, and it's based on your service account file and how they're set up. So it generates all the recurring work for that month, and that's how your work is created in this system. It actually is physical work orders that are in the open work order file. If I clicked on Open WIP, I would see that these are all orders basically that were created for March, and they were pre-scheduled for March. Now when I go into my scheduler program, this is what it's feeding off of, is that open work order file. Now the program defaults into global settings as being in sequence. It starts out with today's date, and it starts with the very first technician, and it's also kind of laid out in a 4-day format, if you will. So we've got March 12th, we got March 13th, 16th, and 17th. In the bottom right hand corner, I can change a few options here. Right now, I'm skipping Saturday and Sunday. If I click this one time, it would include Saturday. Okay? If I click it once more, it would include Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to set it back to just skip Saturday and Sunday. So you set that to fit your needs. Right now, the program's designed to show me all of technician, Billy Ray Bob here. It's to show me all of his work 4 days out. If I change the technician here to Mike Howard, then I'm seeing 4 days out for Mike Howard. Okay? Same thing if I look at Jimmy Jones. I'm seeing 4 days out. This to me is the best way to use the scheduler in this format. Now if you wanted to, you could change to indicate to the program that you want all of these dates to stay the same. Okay? If I did it this way, then I would want to change the technicians, leave him there, change this guy to this, change him to Jimmy Jones, change him to James Brown. So what I'm seeing now as I flow through these dates, okay, as I move to the 13th, I'm seeing just that day 13th, but I'm seeing all 4 of these technicians for that day. Okay? So that's another way that it can be done. As is basically forces the program to keep these settings as is. If I change this guy to the 13th, then it stays that way no matter what I do with this date here. Okay? So this date really doesn't affect each one of these grids or daytimer grids. Now the best way for me, this sequence to me is the best way to do it. So now I'm going to change my date back to today's date, the 12th. To me, this is the best way to use it. In this way, all I have to do, if I want to look at a different technician, I just simply change it. And I'm seeing the 4 days out. And it just seems the most easiest way to use this scheduler. Now, let's take a look at this section. This is my open work orders, and you can see I'm seeing everything that's scheduled and unscheduled. There's one that's unscheduled. It's showing up in this list. Well, I can actually browse to the right and I can see the technicians that are assigned to it. So I could click this technician and sort it by that. So let's say I want to work with technician T0101 at this point. Now, at this point, I might want to just only view what has not been scheduled. Okay, so now I've got a order here that basically was created for March 24th. Well, that's in the future, so I may not necessarily want to schedule this guy at this point right now. So if I'm just looking through the system to find, to make sure I'm not missing someone, for example, here's one that's March 5th. Well, this guy, we've already missed it. We need to get this worked in somehow. So I know it's technician T0101. So what I'm going to do is double click this guy to get him in schedule edit mode. Now I can click any one of these buttons, which is going to take me to a detailed day timer. For example, let's say I wanted to look at March 17th. I click that. Now I've got a more detailed day timer that would allow me to schedule this particular account. So let's say, for example, before I click that, I'm in edit mode, so there's the phone number there. So I call this guy and I get him on the phone. Now at this point I can schedule him. And if he can't, if one of these dates doesn't work, all I have to do is just change the date. Let me push it up to 1. So now I'm moving my dates around. So maybe this customer said, well, you can come on the 18th. I mean, I'm available there. So at this point, I can click the 18th, and then I can schedule this guy and give him some time slots. And let's say they indicate that 1:30 is good. So I just double click 1:30. It's put that in for me, and I just click apply to apply that. So I'm done. So this guy is scheduled. Okay. Now maybe I want to change my date back to the 12th. Okay. Now I'm picking up the next account here that's not scheduled, and I can see that it's a March 6th. Kind of the same scenario. So this is an account that's already past due. So I definitely want to get it scheduled. So I double click it. I call the customer, and then I just find a place to put him. Okay. Let's say that March 17th is good, so I just find a slot to put him in. Now, obviously, I can't put him in 10 o'clock. The system tells me it's already taken. Now, I also have the ability to change the time duration for this particular job that I'm trying to schedule. Let's say it's going to take an hour. So now, when I double click into, let's say 11 o'clock, it's used up those two slots there, and I'll show you. I'm going to click apply. So that's on the 17th. Now, without going into edit mode, I'm going to click on the 17th and see that this guy I just scheduled is using 2 time slots. Okay. Now, since I'm not in edit mode, I can still click on any one of these days to view. I can't really schedule anything because I'm not in a schedule mode. So I'm not selected a work order to schedule. So that's why I really can't schedule here. And the system is kind of telling me that. It's telling me it's view only. So I'm really just viewing this. I can't really schedule it because I can't schedule until I'm actually in edit mode. So if I click on this guy, well, he's scheduled for the 11th, but he's not physically scheduled, which 11th's already passed. So this is another account that I need to pick up and schedule. So let's get him scheduled. Since I'm in edit mode now, when I open up one of these, now I'm actually scheduling that job. Okay. And at this point, I can double click. Let's say we can pull him in at 11:30. Now I can, click notes here and make any changes. I can actually tell the system to update this 11:30 time back to that service account so that next month it will actually be pre-scheduled for 11:30 a.m. on this particular date on that. Okay. I click apply and that's scheduled. And now when at some point I want to go ahead and click save all to save all this back to my live database. So in case another user's in the system, I want to keep that save all updated as soon as possible so that they're picking up any changes that I've made since I've been in this session. Now again, I've scheduled a few things. Now I can still change this, and now I'm only looking at what is actually scheduled. Okay? This is looking at both scheduled and unscheduled. Now, since I've worked with technician 1, let's say maybe I wanted to start working with technician 2, then I can just browse down and start, finding some work that's set up for schedule 2. For technician 2. Then I can change that technician code. Now I can start kind of working through this guy to see what is not scheduled for that particular. There's not many, but here's one. But it's pre-scheduled for the 27th, so it's okay. I don't need to worry about it right now. This one's 23rd. 6. Well, here's one we missed. So again, now I'm scheduling work for technician 2. And it's telling me here I've got a conflict already in this that was automatically created for me because it doesn't really try to correct that during the recurring work order creation process. But this program is indicating I've got a problem here. So before I schedule anybody, I'm going to fix that problem. Okay? So I'm just going to jump in or double click. Well, I'm going to get out of mode on that guy. And I'm going to fix one of these, either by calling him or just simply, going back in and changing it maybe to 8:30. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Now, I'm going to get back to this customer that I was looking at before. That's not scheduled for technician 2. He was the 27th, so I'm looking at that date right there. And I'm using my arrow key to browse down. There's that ticket I was working with. So I'm going to schedule it, work it in here, contact the customer, whatever you're doing to set it up. Schedule it for 11 o'clock, apply, and then I've got that scheduled. Okay? Now, this is dealing with work tickets that was already created in my recurring creation process. Now, what I want to show you down, let's say a customer's actually called you on the phone and they don't have a ticket out here. But you can try to find that ticket. For example, it's searching by address at this point. So if I know the customer's address while he's on the phone, I can find him here. Well, let me go find the address. Here's the address there. So he's giving me his address. So maybe it's 43, and you can see how it's narrowing down to help you find it. So let's just say, for example, that this customer doesn't have a current open work order. It's actually a call-in to a regular customer, but they want some extra job to be done. So I'm going to show you how to accomplish that. So the first thing I would do is make sure I've saved all, that I'm not leaving without saving. I'm going to close my scheduler down. I'm going to go to order entry. Okay. I'm going to select at the bottom of the screen new. Then I'm going to locate the particular customer that had called in that I need to create a ticket for, either by their name. Okay. So I'm going to locate them. And let's say it's this guy right here, Robert. So here's he's a regular monthly pest control account, but he wants an extra job done. Okay? So at this point, I'm tabbing through, and that's the route that he defaulted on. Okay? Now what I want to do at this point is click this schedule button. And so it's opened up the same schedule type program, and that happened to be, let me quit out of that. Well, actually, it's technician T1 is who's assigned to that job. Normally, that's the route, and there's the technician that it defaulted to. So that's why it defaulted to technician T1. But I could easily change the technician here if I wanted to, assign it to a different technician. So at this point, I'm creating it for today, so I may not be able to get it in today, but maybe I can get it in tomorrow. And so I'm scheduling this job through the same scheduling program. Maybe I need to put it down here on the 17th. And so I'm just going to pull this up and schedule them for 1 o'clock. And then save that, apply. And then I can move on out and I can apply this. Well, first of all, I would change the job. Let's say he's, maybe it's something different. It's just a one-time pest control. Maybe it's an extra thing that I need to come out and do for him. And, we're going to just charge him $45 for it. So I've scheduled it. So once I apply it and I save all, I've created the ticket, I've scheduled it, now it's giving me the opportunity to print it if I need to. Then you can go ahead and print it.
It's also streaming on the Facebook app, SiriusXM.
Okay. And it's scheduled for the 17th at 1 p.m. So I was able to schedule this job, this new work order, within the same scheduler as this. And if I look down at the 17th, you'll see that new customer right there is scheduled and he's in the system. Now that's pretty much a decent overview of my system. It was a pretty long video. I appreciate you watching it, but I hope that it gives you a good understanding of how our scheduling system works. And again, it's really based on creating your service work in advance that generates the tickets based on how a customer was pre-scheduled to be worked. Let me pull up a customer just to kind of show you that in case you're looking at my software to possibly, to see if it'll work for you. Let's say that I pull up this particular customer. The way our system works is you set up a service account. And this particular customer is set up on a monthly basis every first Thursday. And we can set up a time and we can tell the program whether this is a scheduled job automatically or not. And actually this is every other month. So when this ticket gets generated, the next one's due in April. So he wasn't due in March that I just food with. But in April, he's going to get a ticket generated for the 2nd of April for 2:30 automatically. And it will be marked as scheduled. So when it comes up in my scheduler program, it's going to be there. It's going to show up for April 2nd. And that's really the basis of how our product works. And anything else, like I showed you, was just manual work tickets that we may have went in and manually created a work order that's anything that's not automatically recurred. And again, we recur our work with this program. And you can do that in advance or whatever. And you can actually rerun. For example, I could rerun March, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to do that because it's going to recreate any tickets that I've already posted. But if I was creating April, for example, and today is March 12th, then I could create April, okay? And it generated 142 tickets for April. So I could actually save all at this point, and then I could theoretically, if I needed to, I could begin my scheduling for April if I wanted to do that kind of thing. And then even before I got to the March of April, I could actually come back and run April again, and it would actually pick up any new customers that I may have created since March 12th, which is today. So it's possible to do that. So you can create your stuff in advance if you need to schedule it. Okay. So that pretty much concludes, and I'm going to exit out of that. I'm not going to save that. But this concludes this video of our scheduling program. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like it, be sure to give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.